Sometimes, there's a silence you can't explain. No footsteps, no breath, and yet, you know something is there. That unfamiliar thought hiding in the back of your mind, the presence you feel every night, though you don't remember inviting it. Real fear doesn't live in the dark. It lives in that echo within you, the one without a name. These stories aren't from the outside world. They come from inside you. And now, they want out. If you're ready, welcome to the true darkness. I spent most of my life far away from my family. It wasn't exactly exile, but it was a choice, a clean, cold break. Years of heavy, unbroken silence. My wife, Emma, knew. She believed the TIs had long been severed, that the past was dead and buried. I rarely spoke of my childhood, my strange, secretive relatives, or that house. I would only say, the past is better left buried, and she never pushed. She knew better. So when I heard that voicemail Emma received last week, you can't imagine the terror I felt. The caller was my great-grandmother, saying she would be stopping by soon to meet our newborn son, Steve. When Emma showed me the message, she had an innocent, sweet smile on her face. She thought it was just a small, pleasant surprise. "I'm so excited to see him, sweetheart," the voice said, soft and warm, but with a deep, unsettling tremor beneath it. "I just know he's beautiful. I'll be stopping by soon." I wouldn't trade it for the world. Emma said the voice sounded gentle, fragile, like an old woman trying to swallow the lump in her throat. But as I listened, I felt ice fill my veins. My stomach twisted into knots. It was like a low hum, rising from deep underground, flooding my mind. "That's my great-grandmother," I said. My voice was surprisingly steady, but inside, a storm was raging. "She died 10 years ago. At first, Emma thought I was joking. But when she saw the look on my face, she froze. I wasn't smiling. I wasn't even breathing. My eyes screamed that I was telling the truth. I had never told her about my great-grandmother's death. I never saw the need. She passed away around the time I started college, right when I decided to sever all ties with that side of the family. They had always been strange, outside the bounds of normal. They had a long, deep-rooted history, steeped in superstition, dark secrets, and an obsession with death. They were fixated on dreams, omens, misfortunes, and the spirits of the dead. Their house was like a museum crammed with antique relics, strange symbols, and objects whose meanings I never understood, all hidden under layers of dusty cloth. There were whispers, hidden rooms, doors that would swing open without warning, and cold spots that couldn't be explained. Leaving that air behind had been a matter of preserving my sanity. I took the phone from Emma's trembling hand. The caller wasn't saved in her contacts, but the area code. It belonged to that bleak, forgotten town where she had lived and died. The place I had abandoned 10 years ago, vowing never to return. My fingers twitched as I dialed the number back. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." It felt like there was a void on the other end of the line, a void that had been dead for 10 years. The call ended with a hollow click. I didn't sleep a single minute that night. Every creak, every shadow in the house made me jump. My mind kept drifting back to Steve. I got up to check on him. He was sleeping peacefully in his crib like an angel. His tiny, innocent body was so vulnerable, so exposed to whatever was coming. That fragility, set against the darkness I knew was drawing near, terrified me even more. At 3:08 a.m., Exactly at 3:08, the silence of the room was torn apart by a burst of static. The baby monitor had turned on by itself. From the speaker, a melody drifted out. It wasn't one of the lullabies we played for Steve. It was something much older. There was a haunting familiarity to it that made my skin crawl. It was so old that the last time I had heard it, I was just a child. My great-grandmother used to hum it to me as I fell asleep. She had taught it to my grandfather, who taught it to my mother, and then my mother to me. A strange, slightly unsettling tune that had been passed down through generations. I hadn't thought about it in decades. I sprang out of bed. My heart was pounding so hard, it felt like it was going to break through my chest. I rushed to the nursery. When I opened the door, the cold air that hit my face shocked me. It wasn't just a normal chill. It was a dead cold cutting through to my bones. It felt like a small ice age was happening inside the room. The wooden rocking chair in the corner was slowly moving back and forth as if an invisible weight had settled on it. The creaking of the chair echoed in the cold air, piercing the silence with a sharp sound. But the room was empty. Steve was sleeping soundly. His face was peaceful. I stood in the middle of the room, trembling, looking around. I checked inside the closets under the bed. Nothing. But I could feel, deep in my bones, that something was there. Something I couldn't see with my eyes, but its presence filled the room. The next morning, when I walked into the kitchen to make breakfast, I saw a folded piece of paper sitting on the table. It looked like an ordinary sheet of white paper, but when I touched it, it felt cold and smooth, more like a thin piece of wood than paper. The moment I saw the writing on it, the blood drained from my face. The ink was faded, almost bleached. The handwriting. It was that familiar, looping, strange handwriting. He is perfect. I will visit again soon. It was her handwriting. When I was a child, she used to send me letters. I knew every letter, every curve, every dot by heart. The note carried a faint, unpleasant smell, like damp earth and mold. I grabbed the note in a panic. It felt like it was burning my hand. I rushed to the sink, flicked my lighter, and held it to the paper. It didn't burn. The flame touched it. The edges darkened. A faint smoke rose. That unpleasant smell intensified, but it refused to catch fire, refused to turn to ash. It was like it wasn't flammable, like it didn't belong to this world. The paper stayed cold and stubborn in my hand. In a panic, I crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. 2 nights later, sometime after midnight, I woke up. Emma wasn't in bed. A dim light was spilling out from the nursery. I pushed down the fear bubbling inside me and crept toward it, stepping lightly on the balls of my feet. Emma was there, nursing Steve. She was sitting in the rocking chair, cradling the baby in her arms, her face tired but peaceful. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I watched them for a moment. I was about to turn and leave when my eyes caught the full-length mirror on top of the dresser in the corner of the room. In the mirror, what I saw rooted me to the spot. My heart skipped a beat. Emma was sitting there, yes, but behind her, right behind her, hovering over her shoulders in the mirror's reflection, was a woman. She wore an old, yellowed lace dress that reeked of rot. Her face was deathly pale, almost wax-like, nearly translucent under the dim light. Her mouth, it was stretched far too wide, pulled toward her ears in a chilling, frozen grin, lined with tiny, sharp teeth. Her eyes were like 2 shriveled raisins, dark and hollow, void of any sign of life. And she was staring at Steve, staring with a hunger, an obsessive possessiveness, as if Steve belonged to her, as if she had come to take him. I froze in terror, my body locking up. I blinked and the reflection vanished, as if it had never been there. Emma hadn't noticed a thing. She just looked up, her voice groggy, and asked, "You okay, babe?" "I'm fine," I whispered, my voice rough and shaky. "Just cold," I lied. After that night, our lives turned into a nightmare. The sinister presence inside the house became more and more tangible with each passing day. Every night, exactly at 3:08, the baby monitor would crackle to life, playing that old cursed lullaby. At first, it sounded like a faint hum, barely noticeable. Then it turned into a whisper. Last night, it was singing. The voice that came through wasn't my great-great-grandmother's fragile, trembling one. It was deeper, rougher, older, as if it were crawling straight out of a grave. And now, the words were beginning to take shape. The lullaby was calling out to Steve. It's here, with us, in our home, and it wants Steve. Every passing second, it's getting closer to him. It's no longer just watching. It's touching, leaving marks. And soon, it won't just leave a trace. It's after Steve, and I don't know how to stop it. We're trapped. If you liked the video, subscribe, leave a comment. And remember, we'll meet again where the light fades.